Welcome to episode 12 of
Yes, that's
No
right.
Safe Words podcast.
Yeah, episode 12.
I knew it was episode 12. I was prepared.
Did you know?
I made one
There was
mistake.
a little hesitation in your voice on that one.
Mistake.
Episode 7, bro. Episode 7.
Welcome to episode 1 of the No Safe Words podcast. Yeah, great week.
Was
I
it a
have
great week?
listen, man, I've been battling some internal things. Mental health has been all-time highs of recent. I think I don't know how I can talk about this without talking about it, but I have a case coming up on Friday where I got to go to court.
Dude's
and,
looking at 10 to life.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But no, like it's just been an interesting little thing. I really can't talk about it. We can talk about it after it's all said and done, but I can't really get involved into it right now.
Yeah.
So,
Fair enough.
But all's good. Work is working, and just been trugging along. I really haven't done much. We'll talk about the things I have done, which is some entertainment stuff, some gaming. I got back into gaming. But other than that, I've really just been out enjoying sun and trying to get my mental health where it needs to be.
What'd you see?
Well, we can get into that after you guys.
Oh.
I want to hear about you. You said that you had an all-day event yesterday.
I did. I went golfing, and what that meant was I had to drive an hour into Philly and then drive 2 hours up to Dallas, PA to go to this golf tournament. I had lunch and then had the tournament and then had dinner, and then I had to drive those people who I picked up down in Philly back home and then come back home. So I got home at like 10:30.
Why?
I left at like 7:30.
These logistics don't make sense to me.
Nah, well, there were two kids. They just didn't have cars.
Got it.
So it was like, all right, well, they can pay for Ubers to get up there, but that's like $300. And I was like, I'll just go up there. I'll just go down there and pick them up. And
Such a nice guy.
so,
Or
plus, like, then I didn't have to drive for 2 hours by myself. So there was
That's
that.
fair.
2 hours each way.
Or they're gonna hop on the train to Chalfont.
Yeah, I mean, with golf bags, yeah.
That's nice of you.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I would
considerate.
have just said, you better use those Chevrolets, bro.
Chevrolet.
Get to stepping on that SEPTA.
Nah, it was good. It was a good
That's
drive.
Good. I'm glad
How'd
you
you
had
play?
fun.
So, like crap. I played terrible.
That happened.
I mean, it was a scramble, so I don't know what my score was, but I think we were even pretty much as a scramble, which is pretty
Oh, that's
bad.
not bad.
Like when you get 4 shots at every shot, like one of them should actually be pretty good.
I see what you mean by when you said even. Got it.
Yeah.
So you're all playing about the same. There was no one that you could take their ball and play it.
No, yeah, we were all kind of trash. I mean, one guy didn't even have a set of clubs. The other guy, like, he's like, oh yeah, I started playing this year. And then the fourth guy got fucking hammered by hole 4. He was hammered. And then like right around hole like 13, 14, he started hitting them good. I was like, oh, your BAC is at the perfect level now. I kept giving him crap. This dude took like 3 shots in the first 6 holes, and he was drinking beers. I was like, dude, you're done. Holy crap.
Where'd you find these guys? Just some random outing or what?
Nah, it was from the lodge.
Got
So Poobah
it.
things.
The super secret brotherhood.
Yeah.
The Illuminati, bro.
Watch out.
Yeah.
33 levels of 33. Anyway,
So
I
you were
went.
in a boat?
I was out. Yeah, I went out on my buddy's pontoon boat Friday night. Did some trout fishing. I caught a fish. I caught a singular fish.
Nice.
That's
and
good.
It wasn't a keeper, unfortunately. It was 14 inches. It needed to be 15 inches. And and then Matt caught like 5. I know, it's so, always coming up one short.
Yeah.
But Matt caught one. It was like this big, rainbow trout. It's huge.
Nice.
And then Kevin, the guy who owns the boat, he caught a pickerel, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, it was a good night. I mean, there's nothing better than being out. Like, it was beautiful. It got a little chilly at the end, but like overall, just like, I don't know, it was very relaxing and it was perfect weather and it was a good time. So
It's good, man.
glad I got to get out. And then I went and I saw a movie yesterday, and then I saw a movie today.
Nice. All right, well, let's get right into it. Muhammad, you're a couple weeks late on F1. Let's hear it.
Yo, F1 was awesome. I mean, I feel like, so at first I didn't know what to expect other than like obviously the reviews you guys gave and like you guys talked about it. But then I'm like watching, I'm like, oh man, this is good. Like the way they filmed it. I mean, I could only imagine watching it the way you guys did, doing like that 4D thing.
Oh, the 4DX.
Probably would have been like 1,000 times better. But just in general, like the filming, the angle, I mean, the shots, the angles, the like I was just all the creative things that he did. It was just like, what do you expect? And then you realize afterwards, like, oh, that was all part of his plan. It was like, you know, it wasn't really. Oh, I thought you were doing something with your hand. It wasn't really thought out. It was like, or if you thought it wasn't thought out, you're like, wait, what the hell's going on? And then you realize, okay, he did that because after that, obviously, he kind of expected it to go that way. You know, he starts doing unconventional tactics to get advantages. And then that little twist at the end with the guy who reported them kind of throwing things off. And then I wasn't sure if that kid was going to die when that crash happened. It was like, oh no.
Bro,
yeah.
That was wild.
I was like, what the, that's a lot of fire. And then it was good to see how the dynamic changed throughout the movie. And near the end, like the kid matured, right? And that was what Ruben wanted him to come along for, was to kind of mentor and train this kid to get him like past the fact that he's young, he's cocky, he's full of himself, all of the above, just like, what's his name? Sonny was. So I don't know. I thought it was a great movie. That was awesome. The ending, obviously, if you know, he's going to go back to that Baja 1000 or whatever it was. I mean, it would be interesting. I don't think there's a way for them to make another one. I don't think they would make another one.
They're not going to make another
But
one. That movie made no money.
Really?
It lost so much money, dude.
It was so good, though.
It was really good, but it
Wait,
just
hold on.
lost so much money.
Did it lose a lot of money?
Yeah, dude. You know how much money they put into making that film?
No.
It did look like a lot went into it.
It was like $225 million.
And what do they make so
I don't
far?
know what the box office is right now.
That's upsetting, man, because like legitimately that was a fun movie. It was just
exactly.
It was
You're cheering along.
Right. And I'm always a fucking sucker for banter. Whenever like you can get the banter back, like, and it was there, right? And for me, seeing like two people of different backgrounds, similar but like different, and just different attitudes, like different times of life, right? Like
Different seasons of life.
Yeah, where we were when we were 20 is not what we are today, right? And just seeing that unfold in front of our eyes.
Oh, I guess it did better than it did. Than I thought it did.
What did it do?
So the budgets for movies is very ambiguous. So Gemini says $200 to $300 million. Which is a big freaking range, right? Like, yeah, maybe throw in an extra $100 million. Why not? I mean, that's 50% more. And it says currently its box office globally is at 560. So maybe what I looked at was just the domestic box office, and I was like, oh, it's only 250 or whatever, 300, and I was like, well, that doesn't hit its thing. But 560 globally, that's good. That's
yeah. I was assuming that, especially being an F1 movie, F1 is really really big overseas.
Yeah, it is.
It's starting to like really be big over here, and that's why you're seeing Miami and Vegas, right? But I love the sport. I do. It's a fun watch. There's a lot of just really good riders, and like, listen, it's very tight in the very beginning, and then it opens up, and pretty much you're looking at whoever's in first or second is probably going to stay in first or second after a certain point of time. But no, I like the sport. and the movie I thought was amazing. Really, really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, it was, especially in 4DX.
So
It was a lot of fun.
that leads us to a new movie I was really excited to see. I will hold.
And then disappointed. again,
I
right?
will hold my thoughts on the movie until after I hear your guys' thoughts on the movie. It sounds like there's a range of thoughts, and I'm on this side, you're on that side, and Muhammad sounds to be in the middle. But let's hear it.
So why does the left have to be bad?
I-
Why can't the right
I-
be
no
bad?
one said anything about being right or wrong.
You're like, right?
Well,
Perspective.
you're on the left of me,
Perspective
and
matters.
I'm the right, and technically
Yeah.
Muhammad is
See,
in the middle
he's
of us.
all the way on the right.
All the
But
way.
Muhammad's
yeah.
even further on the right. No, not on this movie though. So weapons, right? So let's just talk about like what my expectations were of weapons going in, right?
I think
I
that's
was like,
where this problem.
This
lies.
is gonna be the horror movie blockbuster of the year, right? That's what I'm expecting. I'm going in, I'm like seeing this creepy kid. They're doing all these like press conferences, like where they have like they're taking these pictures with the actors and that freaking kid's in the back, like with his makeup on, and they're like, oh, I don't want to be near that kid. Like, it's not that scary. It's not that scary. I mean, there's some gory parts, there's some jump scare things. Like, I went to sleep
jumped.
fine. You know, this wasn't a movie that, like, now I've got nightmares from, right? So it didn't really hit me as a
When's
horror.
the last movie that you had nightmares from?
Insidious?
I mean, it's been a while. I mean, look, those Annabelle movies, bro, that's freaky. 'Cause you start seeing stuff in the shadows and stuff, and you're like, man, I don't know about that. Like,
Not to
but
go
like,
off on a tangent, but one of the. So I used to be a huge pothead, right? And
You don't say.
I stopped smoking when Lily was born, and then since Lily was born, when she was younger, I smoked a handful of times, and one of those times, Ashley was asleep, Lily was asleep, went outside, smoked a little doobie, came back inside. I was gonna play some Gears of War, and just have me a night. Well, I started melting into the game, and I was like, I'm just looking at the graphics of this game, and I'm not really playing to my abilities here. So I'm just gonna watch a movie. Well, I'm not sure if this has happened to you. I know it's probably not happened to you, but like your daughter's toys that run on batteries, when the batteries start to die, they just start doing their own thing. Not sure if this happened to you, but I'm sitting on the couch watching a show, and all of a sudden, all I hear
this has happened to
is,
me.
"Let's be friends," and I was like, I was cooking, and I was like, no, went right to bed. Just not sticking around, not caring, went right to bed. But yeah, it was my daughter's toy.
You know what though? Evil Dead though. Evil Dead had
The new
me.
one?
Yeah, yeah.
New one's freaky.
The newer one, dude. That was that. If you have to choose a first genre for that movie, it's horror. That, like, there's no doubt, right? This
I
one,
don't think I saw Evil Dead.
this one is not majority horror. You didn't see the new Evil Dead? Oh,
What
they're
about-
coming
I
out.
don't think-
They're coming out with another one
What about Bring Her Back?
next year. Bring Her Back was meh. I mean, it was no. I mean, it was a good movie. It didn't like give me nightmares, but I mean, also firmly in the horror genre.
Okay.
Firmly in the horror genre, right? This movie was not firmly in the horror drama. Genre.
I disagree.
That's
It
where.
was-
So
It was much more mystery first than
I
horror.
think it was thriller. I think there.
Okay, that's not
so-
horror.
But like
That's not horror.
thriller's part in the horror.
Suspenseful,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean,
So
like,
okay, continue with yours. I don't want to go.
So I was going in expecting I'm gonna be freaked the hell out by this movie. It's gonna be horror. It's gonna be great. So much hype about it, and then it was much more mystery. And that's not to say that it was a bad movie because of that. It's just that my expectations were not met. Right? Like they played it up as a horror film. It had some horror in it. It was more of a mystery film, and And also there's this whole like they didn't really explain a lot of things. There wasn't like without spoilers, or should I say spoiler alert? I don't know.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Like you don't know why the witch does this. You don't know, like she was sick, and then she was like, oh hey, you can make me better by getting kids in your classroom and giving me their things, and then all of a sudden she's better. Okay, how did she get better? Is she like sucking the life out of these kids?
Yeah, she was like a
or
succubus.
does she like need followers to be healthy? Like I don't know what the hell's going on, because she already had the parents as the followers. That didn't help. So you know what I mean? Like it's there's a lot of unexplained things that happened, and that happened. And you know, I mean, there was one of the most satisfying moments in movie history when, you know, when them kids just tore that bitch apart. But I don't know. That's my take. I said 7.5 or 3.5. I think 3.5 stars, so 7 out of 10. You know, which means I would recommend going to see it in theaters, but you know, I wouldn't watch it twice.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Like
Ron.
my whole big thing is, first off, it didn't seem like it knew what it was. Like that movie itself didn't know what it was, because it seemed like there was a bunch of random things all over the place. It was funny at certain times. It was stupid at certain times. It was confusing at certain times. Like what Scotty said, you don't know anything about, okay, their aunt comes into town. They don't know anything about her. Okay, first off, all right, they don't know anything about her. That's fine. So she comes in, then she takes him over. First off, how is she doing that? Where did that little black tree come from? What gave her this ability to do this? How did she learn to do this? How did she know that she had this power? Then,
Right.
like, the scene with the basement, first off, how did she just know to go hide down in the basement? Like, he was going to definitely find the kids down there when she invited him in. Like, when she had the girl, the girl
was
from
freaky.
Ozark and Josh Brolin. Is his name Josh Brolin?
Josh Brolin, yeah.
Yeah. Like, how did she just know that he was going to go down there, for her to be hiding in the darkness and then jump up and grab his dog chain or dog tags from his neck or whatever? Like, I don't know. It was freaky. It was creepy, but it wasn't like, I mean, there were some jump scares.
She took some hair.
No, wait, she took
Not
some
as-
hair from the girl in the car when the girl was sleeping.
No, she
But-
took some hair from him.
No, she grabbed the thing off of his neck.
I thought she had to wrap the hair around the branch.
You have
Well,
to
maybe-
have something
yeah.
of theirs, because remember with the kids, she put the things in there, and then what she did is she had the girl's hair, the
Yeah,
blonde girl's
and
hair.
the
Yeah,
bookmark.
yes, but that was like the cauldron thing where she had to put it in the water, like in the liquid and stuff like that, with all the kids' stuff. The hair, you have to wrap the hair around the branch.
No.
She didn't have
That's
a
for who you
freaking
want to
bowl.
kill. Hold on,
No,
hold on.
no.
Let me just finish.
She didn't have
The
a
way it
bowl.
works is she took the piece of his whatever it was, and then she had the blonde girl's hair. She wraps the blonde girl's hair around the stick, puts her blood on it, breaks the stick. When that stick gets broken, it then signals whoever she has in control based on their belongings, signals them to go kill that person.
Yeah,
So
but I
she
thought they had
had-
to wrap both hair.
No. So what,
No, just the target.
He's right. So like, for instance, we'll use the principal. The principal, all it was his bookmark, right? His banners that he had in the office.
Oh
So
yeah,
he
wrapped
She took
her-
one.
Oh,
there,
that's right. That's
and
right.
he
that's
wrapped
right.
and she
Okay.
wrapped her hair
You're
around
right.
that,
You're right.
and then drew blood. It was just water in the thing. So the way it worked is you break it.
No,
it
when
signals-
you put it in the water, then it
Yeah.
stops the spell, right?
But yeah, so like it's just, I don't know. It was like really weird. It was a cool movie. I don't think I would see it again. I don't think I would go back to see it in the movies again if I knew what it was going to be. It seemed like it took too long to get into it. I get the idea between the multiple different storylines, like, okay, you have to give some background or you have to do whatever, and all the storylines kind of they're broken apart, and then you go to a different perspective, and then they get kind of filled in the blanks, joined together. But then you spend the whole movie explaining or describing it, and then like this much of the movie is actually crazy shit that you wanted to see most of the movie.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
probably give it a 6 out of 10.
Very slow burn, and the whole like I mean, I like the way that they broke it up, person by
It was
person,
cool.
like perspective by perspective. But I felt like they had to do that, because if they didn't do that, there would be all this boring ass story, and then all of the action all at the end. Instead of like having the principal run at Julia Gardner's character, like midway through, and then all this other stuff like the cop chasing down the heroin addict and stuff. Dude, that was hilarious when he came at him with the 3 needles and was like, he was like, "Do you have AIDS?"
But it was cool.
Bro,
Like
when she was waving
Okay.
in the woods, oh, I was fucking creepy.
That was a little
listen,
scary.
I hear you guys' thoughts. I'm gonna say I'm gonna give this movie a 9 out of 10.
What?
I'm gonna give this
That
movie
is
a 9 out of 10.
wild. That
He
is
has reasons,
and
I'm sure.
I'm gonna explain what why. So I agree with you guys for a certain perspective that if you go into this movie expecting a full-on crazy horror movie, you could be let down. And then when you hear that this is a horror movie and it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, you're automatically thinking it's going to be one thing and have preconceived notions and be upset.
Which it's not anymore, by the way.
What is it?
Now you're gonna make me look.
I think it's a 90.
I can check.
90 and change. But as you're looking for
Rotten
it,
Tomatoes app sucks, by the way.
that's why you just go to Fandango.
It's
95
tomato meter, 87 popcorn meter.
So
It's still pretty high.
I thought the story was beautifully intertwined and delivered. I think that comedy in horror has always been there. And we're starting to see it come to light a little bit more now, where they're drawing humor in some dark areas. And I find that to be relieving. I enjoy it. I like laughing, so finding the balance between absolute terrifying and comedy is a dance that I like to see on the screen. When I look at the way they evolve the story between all of the characters, I can see where you guys are talking about it being a mystery. I guess you're thinking about that because kids went missing, which makes sense, right? Well, that to me is thriller, and it was leaving you on the edge of the seat because it was drawing in the teacher's perspective, right? What's her, Julia Gardner?
Yeah, Julia Gardner.
Julia's perspective from, hey, I'm a teacher. I love these kids. I love doing what I'm doing. You see her have a big heart, trying to drive a kid home, getting yelled at, getting disciplined, and all those things, trying to make sure that all of the kids that she cares for is taken care of. And then to be accused of doing something wrong, you start to see her spiral down in her own demons, right? And her vices trying to go through it. And then you look at the parents' perspective, like they just want answers, like how's this happening? And if you put yourself in those situations. So I thought that they did a really, really good job there. Now, I do see where you guys are coming from with not having answers. If you follow witchcraft or have watched any movies around witchcraft or understand that to be any sort of thing in the past history, then you sort of understand where these are coming from anyway. So they didn't. It's almost like taking a step from Gunn's approach with Superman, right? Why am I going to tell Superman's
This is not
story?
the same, bro.
It is. Witchcraft is witchcraft. So this has been something that's been done over the course of years.
So the writer is deciding, okay, all these people are gonna know it's witchcraft, but so that answers how she has this ability to do that. And that's not an answer. That's not an answer that I cared about getting. The answer as I cared about getting was, why did she target kids? Why was she not sick anymore?
Well,
like what?
She targeted people
what
because
is her
she fed off of people.
Okay.
So if you entrap these people, essentially it feeds her, so it brings her back. It's like a succubus, right? So you have an older woman, like these old stories about older witchcraft, older people that are witches, right? Feeding off of young to gain their youth back and relive.
Kind of like Hollywood.
What's up
She
with this
said-
tree then? What's up with
What?
it? Like, go ahead, Mohammed.
Kind of like Hollywood.
Yeah, like Hollywood, 100%.
Like Hollywood.
Nickelodeon, 100%.
Can we just real quick? Can we just talk about the Naruto running?
Oh.
Just like the Naruto running. They're like,
Oh,
Yeah.
they're just like, "Ah."
Bro, when the vice principal was doing that though,
That was wild, dude.
bro,
Yeah,
his eyes, like the way they made his eyes like popping out of his head
yeah.
was crazy looking.
I'm not sure he could see.
Oh
they
my
had not to be. They had to not be his real eyes. Like, how'd they do that?
But so all right, let's go back as kids, right? There was a book written by was it Judy Blume called Witches, where she turned kids into mice, and the witches fed off the kids that turned into mice because then they became young again. So this has been a story that's been told endless amount of times. So yes, did they explain this in full detail? No, they didn't. But they left it there because for the most part, people who are seeing a movie that, and nothing was told to us that it was about a witch, right? Because that was the curveball. But if we look at anything about witches, this is something. Not all witches too, right? We're talking about bad witches. Okay, don't cast spells.
Don't get the
on me.
Wiccans mad at you, bro.
There's the good witches too.
Yeah,
Don't get the
want
Wiccans mad at you.
I don't want the Wiccans mad at me. I'm just
Like, here's-
oh, they're already mad at you because you just said that you just called Wiccans witches.
The only
They're Wiccans,
the
not
only
witches.
thing that clears up anything is the fact that they wrote witch on her car. And it was the guy that wrote witch on her car because that's just assuming that she was a witch. And that's the only link between witches and what was happening in this whole thing.
Yay and nay. Like the spells are evident, right? This
Fair
is
enough.
part of the spell. The drawing
Yeah,
of blood.
rituals.
That's a ritual, and then water is pure, right? So like that's when it ends things, and that's a big part of witchcraft in itself, right? So that's all of it ties together in regards to that. So they didn't go and explain that, which for the people who don't know or don't have those answers, I can see where confusion would lie and them not drawing that together. I personally understood that and understood where it was going. So,
He has a history with witchcraft.
yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, our resident witching expert.
Yeah.
it's a warlock. Actually, I'm a
We're
warlock.
gonna start getting badges.
Oh
for
my
you
god.
guys.
On that note, gotta go.
But no, I thought it was an amazing movie, visually captivating. The jump scares were really, really good. The one made me smack my hands together because
Bro, I jumped.
the one on the ceiling, like that was the first one, and I literally just clapped my hands and lifted my foot up, like it got me. And the lady down in the basement, she got me. Like
That was good. It was good.
That was good.
so those aspects got me. I thought Weapons was a really good title, right? Because she was weaponizing the people and being able to use them at her leisure. So all in all, if you're a fan of witchcraft, if you're a fan of movies that intertwine stories like a Pulp Fiction sort of esque kind of vibe, go check it out. I enjoyed it. 9 out of 10. Highly recommend. These two guys, I don't know what they're watching.
Hey man, I said go see it in theaters. Like, you know
I
what
know.
mean?
I know.
Yeah, but
I know.
definitely not 9 out of 10. You think it's like equivalent to what did you give F1?
We're talking about two different kind of movies, though. But like,
Nah, man, they're all on the same scale, brother. They're all on
I
the same
would say
scale.
this is better than F1.
Would you say it's better than Superman?
Way better than Fantastic Four. Say that. Way better.
I didn't ask about Fantastic
well,
Four. I
I'm
know
just
where
saying.
you stand on Fantastic Four.
What about the
But
new
you
Avengers?
gave Superman what, a 9.5 out of 10?
I gave it a 9 out of 10. I think.
Okay,
Well,
so
I gave it a 9.5 because you made me. Because
yeah, because you had to
wasn't
choose.
in the same
You had
thing
to
as
choose.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, you had to choose.
Going back and looking.
So
at
Fantastic Four is a 9 out of 10.
No, Fantastic Four was definitely probably an 8.
Wow, he dropped it a whole 1,
Yeah,
bro. I
whole
watched
1.
that movie twice. It's definitely not a fucking 8.
Yeah, it's because you're a stan.
Anyway,
I'm not. Are you gonna go see that movie?
Which one?
oh, definitely
Stans?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I would watch Stans.
Eminem.
Yeah, I would watch Stans. But I don't think it's only gonna be limited released.
Yeah,
I don't think it's it's gonna be like real.
We gotta find where it's
Yeah.
gonna
It shows
get
up
released.
at
It's
the one
probably gonna
by
be
me.
shown on. It's
When is
probably
it
gonna be
coming
shown
out?
on Regal. It's definitely gonna be shown.
I don't
on
know, but it was
Regal.
showing up when I looked for tickets yesterday.
This week.
Let me double check. When I went to look for what I was gonna watch today, it showed up on the list.
Our thing expires too this month.
I mean, your thing expires this month. Mine's gonna keep going.
Well, yeah, mine's gonna keep going too, but like it
Yeah.
technically
So
expires this month.
It had showtimes today at 4:00 and 7:00 in Mountainside,
way.
and 4:00 and 7:00 in Linden.
It is not
and
showing up
Edison.
on here.
I think
And
you
Wayne.
might not be looking at it though. I think it is showing up here. Also, I heard Water Tower Cinemas are selling.
They're selling?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they suck.
They don't suck, dude.
Now movies.
This guy's crazy.
I'm gonna
It's
go see
not-
the Bad Guys
it's
too,
not
but I
being
gotta wait
played.
for Farah to get back.
So I saw 90% of Bad Guys 2.
Don't tell me anything.
And it was good. I mean, I really like
Don't-
Bad Guys 2. I'm not gonna give you any spoilers. I mean, the first one, like when I saw the first one, I was like, this is a good animated film.
That's what
I
I'm
was like-
saying.
I was like, this is good. Like, I would watch this. I don't know if my kids will watch this, but I'll watch it. Like, it's good, right? Like, and you're like, it's a good story. It's lighthearted. It's something entertaining to watch, right? Like, it's not like I'll go out of my way to go see Bad Guys, but like, it was like, I don't know what to watch, and then I'm like, oh, Bad Guys, let's watch this, okay. And then even like I wasn't intending on going to the movies. I was like, I just need to get the fuck out of the house, and I was like, cool, like, what's playing? And there were a couple other things that I wanted to see that was like the times just didn't line up. I was like, man, if I go to this movie, I'll be late for Weapons, right? So it was like right before Weapons, I was like, okay, what am I gonna watch? And the times just lined up, and I was like, cool, Bad Guys 2, I'll watch that. And
Nice.
I got all the way up until like maybe the last 10-15 minutes, and then I was like, it's 9:00, Weapons is starting, like I gotta go.
Oh,
And I was like, well, I mean, I have the movie pass, so I can really just go whenever the hell I want to, and I'll just like buy a seat and show up like 2 hours, like
now
an
here's
hour
the
in.
question.
What's that?
The question is that 9:00 showtime. Is that the actual movie start time, or is that the start
No,
time?
I mean,
before?
I probably could have stayed in there and finished the movie, but then I'm like, so look, movies are weird right now because Bad Guys had 30 minutes of commercials before
all the movies
movie
I'm going
started.
to have 25 to 30 minutes of commercials.
There-
I mean,
that's-
sometimes I've been in the theater where it's been like 10 minutes.
Yeah, what did I
It depends. It depends on the studio that puts it out.
Oh, AMC, it just tells you ahead of time 25 to 30 minutes of previews on every
Wow.
single one.
That's stopping, by the way.
Is it?
Oh, because I
yeah.
just leave late. I just wait to go. Like today, I literally got there with like 5 minutes before the thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
I,
Usually that's what I do too.
No, I read something that cinemas will be lowering the amount of previews that they're doing before each movie.
Yeah, but like there are previews that are sold with the movie, right? So they're not
Yeah.
gonna be able to cut that time down. But still, that's like half the time of the previews, right? So you'll see like a green screen or a blue screen or red screen sometimes. Usually not red screen because that means that's the like
The band
red band trailer, right? Which is like
explicit.
not for all audiences.
Oh,
Yeah, they had
So-
Red Band trailers are fun. I
Yeah.
have a funny story about that.
But you'll see like this preview was authorized to be played with this blah de blah, right?
Oh.
with this movie. And those are like, this is from the studios, and you are going to play these previews. But then there's a whole bunch right before that, right? And sometimes I'm just like, I'll go in and I'll just see like the ones that are before that, and then there'll be like none that are approved before, and it'll just go straight into the movie.
Okay.
So back in the day, remember Babysitter from Seth Rogen?
Yeah.
So the Red Band trailer came out for that, and I saw it and I laughed. And I was working at Wells Fargo, and I gave it to my buddy Aaron to watch at his desk, and not thinking of the trailer. So the trailer starts off with like all of the kids from the movie, like having an interview with Seth Rogen, and they were like basically bullying him, which is funny. Then it goes right into the Red Band trailer, and the Red Band trailer starts out with Seth Rogen going down on the chick in the very beginning, and you just hear her having an orgasm, right? Well, I fucking forgot that was part of the trailer. So he's at his desk with my phone, and it starts going, and like all sense of like, hey, just hit the volume button. He's smacking the phone, trying to muffle
Trying
the
to
phone.
cover it up.
Yeah.
Oh
like
my God.
his face.
How do I do this?
Oh my God, dude. He was so mad. But now it's a fun story. So it's good.
Yeah.
And it didn't get fired, so it's good.
Good times.
But well, that's our take
All right.
on weapons. Go see it. We were watching Stick. I just finished. It's been a couple weeks. I've been waiting to watch the season finale. I didn't want the series to be over just yet. And I was really like not trying to watch it until I knew it was going to have a season 2 or not. Right?
Mm.
So it came out that there is going to be a season 2. So I watched it, and I thought they tied up the whole season really, really well.
No spoilers. I haven't seen
No spoilers. Watch it.
You didn't finish
Really
it yet,
great
Scotty?
recommendation.
it. Nah, bro. I haven't seen it. I did finish Duster, but
Did you finish
Oh.
it?
Yeah.
You finished it?
Yeah.
did you finish Duster?
No.
Don't finish Duster. You're gonna.
There's
be
no
disappointed.
point. There's no point. They ruined it. They killed it. So I'm not gonna waste my time.
It was good. It
No,
was
dude,
good.
no,
I
fuck
finished
that shit.
Duster.
No, that's bullshit. I fucking hate that shit. You invest time in a movie, in a show, not a movie, a show, right? It's good. Like Duster was good. Like
Well, you're the asshole that recommended a show that dudded.
I don't know. I didn't look at like the viewers on that.
Apple
but, like,
TV's fault.
They didn't
no,
entertain.
It's HBO's
It's
fault.
HBO.
But,
they,
like,
they
that is
didn't.
their
They didn't
fault.
market it.
Yeah,
they didn't market
like,
it at
no
all.
one-
Nobody watched it because
no-
nobody knew it was even on.
Exactly. So it's bullshit. You're gonna have listen.
They probably spent too much money on the production of it.
I-
Or maybe they just knew. They were like, "Nah, we're not gonna do this again."
It's tough, right? Because you want to finish the season, not necessarily on a cliffhanger, but enough to have someone wanting the next season, right? Stick really didn't do that. Like you didn't get that from the ending of Stick. When ending of Stick happened, you can be done that and not have to like be wanting next season. Like I
Right.
wanted next season just because next series or next season 2.
Next season.
I won next season because I thought it was a really well written show. I thought the characters were really together. I thought there were stories and lessons that were embedded in every
He
single
cares
episode.
about the lessons. He cares about the lessons.
I like to watch a show that has meaning. We did talk about like shows nowadays don't show the modern day family. And all of that. This, even though it doesn't show family per se, it is a family. Like those people all came together, not of blood, but out of circumstance. They found each other and all now are intertwined in a family. Whether it's by blood or not, like
I don't think
you
Nina
and I
is,
are like
I don't think
not-
Nina is part of the family.
what?
I don't think Nina is part of the family. I think she had her own motivations.
Nina?
Yeah,
Who's Nina?
she's the cop. She's the FBI agent.
We're talking about Stick.
We're talking about Stick, bro.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
We're talking about Stick.
You were just going off on a tangent about how you hate the fact that.
I'm. Stay with me. Stay with me.
All right,
He shifted
So-
away from it.
so-
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Stick didn't end with that, but with Duster, they left it so that way you need answers in season 2.
Yeah.
Well, now I'll never get the fucking answers in season 2 because season 2 never will come out. That's bullshit. I don't like it. Not one
Yeah,
bit.
Oh well.
I agree.
But
There was
That was like-
some I thought about when you were talking about this whole like learning lessons from shows and movies and whatever. So I haven't done much research on this, but I've had conversations with other people about like how like you get in certain situations or you watch something and then like you feel the emotion, right? Like I feel the emotion in every movie, every TV show. Like I feel it as if I'm that person. Right? Like I put myself in that person. And apparently not everybody does this. This is like not a thing. Like you can feel the emotion, like they can sense the emotion of the show, but not everybody has this like internal feeling of like they're that person in the show. And apparently that is an indication that you are what's called an empath. Right? So
I thought they called that autistic.
no, well, maybe it's autistic. I don't know. Do you have that same kind of thing going on with you, Muhammad? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I can see like sometimes like, oh man, I'm embarrassed for that person, right? Like in some shows, like somebody gets embarrassed in a show or something, you're like, oh, I'm embarrassed. Like, I would be embarrassed.
dude, I cried multiple times in this
But
series.
anyway,
That's
like,
the problem. That's the problem. Like I'll watch it and then
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that shit's deep. And then it's like it hurts. Like you feel you're like you kind of can
Yeah.
feel yourself going through what that person's going through. Like yeah, I get it. I get it.
Well, it gets really deep, like to the point where like I try and apply it to like I did at some point try and apply it to like things in my life, and then I'd be like, if there were depressing moments, I'd be like, I'm depressed about my life, kind of thing, and maybe like I have a chemical imbalance in my freaking head, and I've got some problems, right, that I have to deal with, but that's one of the reasons why I try not to gain any like lessons from shows.
I see.
Is because I have inappropriately appropriated those feelings and put them into my life, and it's actually caused negative things to happen, or negative
I got
thoughts
you.
at least to enter my brain. So I try not to pay attention to that shit because I don't want it to impact my life. And also, it's Hollywood. I don't give a about their lessons. Don't care about their lessons. I will learn my own life lessons. They're not lessons that are going to change my life. If I want to learn a lesson that's going to change my life, I go and seek it out and research it. I don't need to apply what Hollywood wants in my brain.
But
Because-
not
You don't know what you don't know.
They
not
are-
all things.
They are all biased towards some end.
Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that things don't apply.
Nope, doesn't apply. It doesn't apply.
So
It's not real. It's not real life. It doesn't apply.
I beg to differ.
There are parallels.
That it's-
The ideas
that it's
all
real
the
life?
stories are parallels.
There are parallels that
beg
you
to
don't have
differ-
to make.
I
I don't
beg
think
to
it's.
differ
I don't think
that,
it's necessary.
that when
I don't
you have-
care if a show makes a point or wants to do whatever. I'm not interested. I'm interested in it being entertaining, engaging, and a good time. That's it.
Fair enough.
All right. I didn't say you had to take a lesson. All I'm saying is that doesn't make any sense. Like, people live in, like, writers live in the world and live off of experience, and sometimes
They live in-
experiences.
Fantasyland.
Especially the Hollywood writers.
Yeah, those
They're,
Hollywood
they're,
writers.
because who gets to write? Like, so for example, who approves those movies to even become movies, right? It's not just like everybody is a normal person that is a movie writer. It's like, sure, there are people that are movie writers, but in order for the movies to even become a movie, it has to be approved by somebody who has to have their twist or their push into it. But go ahead.
Look, man, I don't think Martin Scorsese or Christopher Nolan or
No,
Quentin Tarantino
they make
can really.
movies off of a different kind of experience. But
Now,
that doesn't
Quentin
necessarily.
Tarantino.
Yeah, but bro, these guys didn't have. I mean,
What do you mean? Like,
Look, man.
I'm
Quentin
not saying.
Tarantino, dude. You know what Quentin Tarantino's life was? He went to film school. He dropped out. Then he worked at a video store. I mean, how many people work at video stores?
Well, not now because
anybody.
they don't exist anymore.
Nobody works at a video store anymore. I mean, maybe there's like 100 across the country. But I mean, like, is that a life? Is that a life? I mean, I'm not trying to like put down like the lower paying jobs or anything like that. And like, there's a lot of people who work there, and that's what they find, and that's what they want. Maybe they don't want to do, but like that's the way they live. But like, bro, also anything he puts out now is not going to have any kind of perspective based on working in a video store.
I think you're conflating multiple different topics.
Okay.
Like, we're talking about somebody that's writing a story on life and like a trial and tribulations. Like, if you look,
We were talking about Duster and Stick.
Well, Stick, right? It's a story
Stories about
life. Like, what are we talking about here?
Okay.
About childhood, about teenagers, about
Yeah,
family, about
like-
your father treating you like shit and abandoning you, about
Alright.
not
There's
knowing what's
so
wrong or right,
many-
about seeking approval.
Maybe it's been too long for me from watching Stick to.
There's so many points. Like, it is like the Cosby Show. It is like Full House. It's like
Oh, I didn't
Family
really watch-
Matters.
I didn't
All
really
of
watch
these
them.
things had
Vanilla pudding.
ties to just regular day life, and the writers are writing.
I didn't
about,
really watch them.
Okay, well, that's on you. That's fine. But
Maybe I just
So-
don't like shows and movie about life.
sure, you're the one that recommended Stick. Keep going.
I did recommend Stick.
It was a good recommendation.
Good golf show.
It was a good recommendation.
I mean, golf was there, but you could put any sport in there, and it still would.
I
be
think I
the
only
same.
watched like 3 episodes. So
Wild.
What the
Oh.
dude? You gotta get going. It's good.
Another
Speaking
show
of which,
that I've been talking to you guys about, that I am down to the last episode. The season finale comes out, is Smoke. And my God. So the author of Smoke, the writer of Smoke, is Dennis Lehane. He wrote Blackbird, and he also wrote Shutter Island, which I know you like, Scotty. I'm not sure if Muhammad, you saw that movie, but like,
Shutter Island was great.
right. So Dennis is a hell of a writer. This movie, Smoke, is based off of true events. Also, Blackbird was based off of true events, and they wrote a show. Now, the season's not over, but reading what he's talked about, he mentions that this is going to be a 3-season sort of show. We're down to the season finale, so I'm interested on how he's going to wrap it up. But I want to just say that everyone in this show, like you have Taron Egerton, I'm not sure if you guys know him.
have to look him up.
And Natar Guma Mumbo, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this at all correct.
Mumbo Jumbo.
But there's a scene where both of them are in like prison or an interview room in prison, and they're having a conversation, and that scene is fucking amazing. So highly, I've been telling you guys this for weeks.
The dude from Kingsman.
Which one?
The Taron.
Yeah,
That's the dude from
Taron
Kingsman.
Egerton. He was in Kingsman.
Okay. I don't know
Um,
that other guy. Natare.
And then
Guma.
also a name that you guys might be familiar with is
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo's in it. He's a fucking funny character in the show. But Journey Smollett is in that, and
Jussie.
Is that Jesse Smollett's
no,
wife?
that's his sister.
Oh,
In it.
she looks
which
weird.
Her name
she
is
does,
Journey.
yeah. Yeah. Journey Smollett.
Very original name.
And it's spelled different too. It's like
Spelled very interesting.
Jurnee.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing. I can't wait to see this episode. I'm not sure if it came out Friday or if it comes out next Friday, but interested to see where this is going. Um, which leads me to a question because we brought Smollett. So, um, what is something that someone like? How far? I'm trying to think about how to word this. Like Jesse Smollett could have screwed his sister over royally for potential for getting new jobs, right? Being in the industry.
Right.
So what is something that someone in your family would have to do, or someone that you really care about that would have to do that you would have to distance yourself
That's easy for me. So this hasn't happened to me, but it happened to my brother and my stepsister. My mother called CPS on my brother.
So,
It's her son. Her son.
So hold on.
Yeah.
So
You're making a face. Let's clear this up a little bit.
Yeah.
His
Whoa,
stepsister.
What, my family bush?
Yeah. His stepsister.
So I have one full blood brother. I have three
Yes.
half brothers, right?
Ah,
One of
okay.
those half brothers is from my mother's side. My stepsister is from my dad's third marriage. He's on his fourth now.
So it's not necessarily his dad's
Right.
blood.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
So, but like
They met up and
my
had
dad,
a baby.
My dad's known my that brother for like his whole life, because I
Okay.
mean, he had to, and I mean, like, he spent time over, even before he was an adult. But like, he didn't have anywhere to go when he was an adult, and he still had, my sister living in the house, and they were both living there, and you know what happens, and anyway. So now they got two kids together.
When the birds meet the bees.
But when they only had the one, they were not letting my mom see their kid, right? Which is my niece. And she was like, "Well, fine, I'll just call CPS on you."
Are they
And-
allowed? They're allowed to not. I mean, you don't have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She called CPS like they're treating this kid bad and doing all these bad. They just do drugs all day and all
Cut
this other
off.
stuff.
You're
like,
cut off.
Yep. Yeah, man. That's wild. Isn't that wild? And then she
Yeah.
admitted to it. That's crazy. I haven't talked to my mom in like more than 4 years, probably almost 5, maybe.
I didn't realize you talked to her that recently. I thought the last time
Like
you talked
5
to your
years.
mom was Indiana.
Nah, no, I talked to her since then.
Gotcha.
Like, we talked for a few months, and then she pulled some shit. I think it's 2019. 2019. Because I went to Florida, and then my uncle said something stupid about my brother, and then like she went off on me, and I was like, we're done. This is over.
Sometimes
That
you need
sucks.
to distance yourself for peace, man. That's
Yeah.
all what it boils down to. Like I don't have a relationship with my biological mom. Like I
Is that out of
when-
choice, or is that because like your own choice, or is that like a mutual thing?
so when my mom left
Just time check.
from
We're at like 53 minutes.
when my mom left from Jersey, I stopped talking to her for a couple of years, and then Ashley was pregnant with Lily, and I was like, I don't want my daughter not knowing my mom, like her grandma. So called my mom up, and I said, hey, I can't have you lie anymore, and as long as you could agree to that, then I can have you around and be a part of my life. I don't need anything from you. I can't have you lie. I don't need that in my life. And she of course agreed. She came out when my daughter was born, and that was in December of 2008. She stayed at my house for 2 weeks, with her boyfriend, and then went around and then went back to Arizona. And in February, she called me and she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna send you money." And I was like, "Nope, nope, stop. I don't need money from you. If you're gonna send me money, just send it. Don't tell me you're gonna do anything. If you are and can do it, just do it. Don't make promises, right?" And she was like, "No, no, no. I'm getting a job. It's a really good job." And then I was like, "Oh, really? Like, I'm interested, right?"
Mhm.
And she was like, "I'm becoming a detective."
Okay. All right.
So,
What?
like,
Fascinating.
rewind a little bit.
Like,
right?
are you even a cop?
So 2008, I was, let's just say 24. So she's 44-ish, or 48. She's 48. So she's 48. She was overweight, right? And she was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, right? So this is what I saw in her in December. Now in February, she's becoming a detective. So I laughed out loud, right? Couldn't hold that one in.
LOL.
Yeah, for real. And I was like, "Oh, so you're bypassing regular police officer and all of that chain of command and just jumping right into detective, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, they need Spanish speaking people in Arizona."
Oh.
I was like,
Okay.
"In Arizona, they need Spanish speaking. In Arizona, they
That
need
makes sense.
Spanish speaking people
That makes sense.
because they don't have Spanish speaking people in Arizona."
Well, maybe not.
Well,
So-
maybe
course
not
they do.
qualified.
So
I mean, I guess, yeah.
okay, so my overweight 48-year-old mom who's never been a cop is now going to be qualified to become a detective
I
because
mean,
she
I don't know.
speaks
I don't,
Spanish.
Go ahead.
So I was like, "Oh."
Did she
So,
just like
like-
see something on Indeed or something?
So she's like, so
I
I'm like,
applied, I'm gonna
"Oh,
get
so
it."
like you're just bypassing everyone. Like there are people that are coming out of the military looking for work and they could be cop. Like that they are trained with guns, right? So and I'm
Guns.
sure some of them could speak Spanish. You're just bypassing all of them. Before she could say yes, I hung up the phone. And from that moment until, and that's 2009, February 2009, till May of 2021, I didn't talk to my mom. And the only reason why I talked to my mom May of 2021 is because I went to go see my grandma because I heard my grandma fell, and my mom is now the caretaker for my grandma. So my mother and I had a conversation. I just let her know everything. Told her about how I felt about my relationship with her and where it stands. And I said, "I don't hate you. I don't have any problems with you. I don't have any feelings towards you. I just, when I come here to see grandma, you don't have to hide. I'm going to be cordial to you. I just don't need anything from you." So I haven't talked to her since 2023. But,
That
yeah.
seems kind of. I mean, look, I don't know the whole story and context, right? But that seems kind of light and trivial to like not talk to her for like 10 years.
I mean, my mom stole my social security number. She's done a lot of bullshit. I personally.
No, I mean, like you were willing to put that aside, right, to talk to her again and have her like in your.
I can't.
And then like she like was like living in this fantasy that she's gonna become a detective. I mean, it
My
seems
mom's
like
a-
she believed it. You
Yeah.
think she just like made it up just to like make it
My
up, or like
mom's a pathological liar
Okay.
and also uses people.
okay?
So we can.
Well, I mean,
go-
but she wasn't using you in that instance. She was just
Um,
like yeah, I'm gonna become a detective, like living in this crazy
The
fantasy.
long game.
So
but okay.
my mom
Alright.
has a tendency to use people, and
Oh, can you send me $1,000 so I can send you 10 later, like that kind of thing? Like
I
I
don't,
just need $20 so I can get to the interview.
I don't necessarily know. My problem is that I don't know. I don't know if I can trust her, and if I can't trust you, and I don't know what your motives are. I have no idea of anything about.
I have
anything.
a lot of family that I don't know I can trust that is still somewhere in my life.
Well, I don't.
But like you just know it. You just know it though.
but you don't. That's the problem. I don't
Oh
know.
no, you do. How do you not know? She did all these things to you. You're like, nah, I don't know. She might
But
get me.
then
Or
I
you
don't
just
need that.
susceptible to-
I don't need that around my daughter. I don't need that
Yeah.
around me. I don't need that kind of energy in my life.
All
I
right.
don't wish her harm.
Okay.
But over the course of years, I've learned to protect my space.
Yeah.
And I want people around me that are good people that I can trust. And listen, I used to have a bunch of people around me, right? I don't have a bunch
Yeah.
of people around me. Like my circle gets smaller and smaller because I am protecting my space.
Yeah.
And I only want to be
Hey, man.
around people.
Yeah, it's up to you. You know, it's.
We
it's
can
your
dive
life.
deep
Finally
into
I
that.
just like I mean I had like there are a lot of people in my life that I have no idea whether I can trust them or not. Like I mean I don't know because like they haven't put themselves in a position where I needed to trust them or not.
Right.
So,
That's
like-
fine. I
So
have
like
those people
there's
too.
that and then it's like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. So it's like you know.
But to an
Anyway.
extent, right?
Interesting.
Like I just don't understand. Like, and we can go down in this process and get into why I feel the way I feel. Like we have to like. Part of
There's
it
a lot
also
to
is like,
unpack
I
there.
mean
There's a lot to unpack there.
yeah. I mean, like, listen, like, before I moved in with you, right? I lived in Boundbrook. And
no, I mean we don't have to go.
no. I'm just gonna tell you. Before I lived there,
Yeah.
I
You-
lived at Ruggs's house in Washington. Muhammad knows, right? And before that, I used to live with my mom and was helping my mom pay all of the bills because she wasn't doing anything, right? She ended up losing the house that we were living at. So my brother, who's 18 or yeah, almost 18, in high school, never had a job in his life, had to move in with a family in Watchung Hills so he can continue to go to high school. My mom moved somewhere completely else, lost my dog, and then I found a place in Dunellen and was renting the room. And then that turned into my mom moving in and my brother moving in, and I was the only one paying the rent there, right? I don't know what kind of favors my mom was doing. That's not my concern. Like, but then my mom started dating someone the same age as me and left my brother and I to go to Arizona, lied about it, said that she had terminal cancer and she was staying over there to get treatment.
terminal
Right.
cancer.
And she can't fly because they're giving her holistic treatments to cure the cancer. Like, this is the kind of person that we're talking about. And if we really want to dive deep
Maybe
into
she
that,
survived cancer, bro.
my mom, if you really want to get technical, I think was only staying around because my dad was paying child support. And as soon as my brother turned 18, my mom wasn't there anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we can dive deep into those kind of feelings and where that spiraled and where all of that came from. But like, this is the kind of person that I saw do these kind of things and abandon two children. And that's part of the reason why I have such a problem with what Ashley did, but that's a whole different topic, right? Like, and what I see in Lily, right? And that's part of the problem that I just don't understand how people can do what they do. But
And that ties into Stick and how he feels about Stick
yes,
and all those things.
great show.
And that I just want to say that just makes me very grateful and appreciative of, you know, my family and my situation. So, you know.
Listen, dude, like I love your family, man. Like as much as like
Oh,
You know,
yes.
Mama had an easy childhood, apparently.
as no,
I wouldn't go that far. That's not.
Listen,
we're not. I'm just not going to minimize anybody else's.
just because Muhammad like had a different family structure that had its own trials and tribulations. And it's interesting when you look at like just the dynamic with all your siblings, right? Like and how they have evolved and became who they became. So, kudos to you.
Life is lifing.
But I think that wraps up entertainment. right? I mean, I guess. Listen, we have to talk about something. I know we talked about a lot of things serious, right? But there is an issue that I want to bring up to everyone, and I'm not sure if anyone knows this, but this is something serious, guys. All right, you're not going to be allowed bags at any of the WNBA games.
Bags?
Can't bring bags in. No.
They don't want people throwing stuff?
Apparently.
Are people throwing
Dildo!
Are people throwing things?
Not just things. They're chucking
Sorry if I ruined
dildos
it.
on the court.
There's some big money. Big money.
What?
I didn't even look this up. I heard about it separately. Matt texted me. He's like, yo, dude, we should make a bet. We should get dildos and throw them on and make bets about it.
Bro.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I didn't want you guys researching this because I wanted to see your guys' reaction. Because I know that neither of you outside of
Yeah, this is wrong, dude. That's just wrong.
just straight slinging meat, right?
Imagine if it just
What the
imagine if they
hell?
threw it out there and it just hits the and just lands straight up in the.
You said
Oh,
big
the
money. Like
suction-
there's money behind this.
one
like,
of the
there's
suction
people,
cups.
There's people paying.
Yeah, the suction cup. There's bets. There's like I don't know if it's
Oh.
on Kalshi or
bets? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, people could just put this in their pocket. They don't need a bag.
Well,
No, you just put it in your pants. Hello, it's my
Or
dong. What do you
just
mean?
Put it in your pocket.
yeah, you're gonna just stick a dildo in your pocket, bro? How?
No, I'm
In your
not doing
pants.
any of this. But I'm just saying, like, okay, well, you're gonna stick it down your pants? You rather do that?
Yeah, 100%.
What?
You never had a Wizinator, bro?
No. I never needed
What's a
to pass
Wizinator?
test
Oh.
like that.
For those of us who had to take
I-
pee tests, the Wizinator was a fake dick that stored piss that kept it warm, so that way when you went to take a piss, it looked like you were holding a dick and peeing into a cup. Because in some of these instances, they watched you piss.
So
Wow.
back to the WNBA. Well, like, you said there's big money, Mohammed. What?
I
Or you
also,
saying big money?
Yeah,
What
dude.
do you mean big money?
well, I also
I'll tell
heard
you
that
right
there's
now.
gonna be a meme
So-
coin, a dildo meme coin.
Oh my god.
No.
I swear to God.
Yeah, crypto's okay. Crypto Group says it orchestrated sex toy tosses in WNBA. One betting website created markets around sex toy stunts, allowing users to bet on when another toss would happen and what color the dildo would be.
Oh my god.
These are neon colored dildos, by the way.
The fourth time within a span of a little over a week.
Oh,
Adult toys got thrown on the court
bro.
for the game.
Chucking salamis.
Oh my god, this is awful.
Just chucking
That's
salamis
awful,
on the court.
dude. But people are stupid.
Imagine someone just running down the court as a WNBA player and getting smacked with a rubber cock in the face.
Oh my god, bro.
Drive-by schlonging.
That's hilarious.
That's
So-
awful.
Which leads us to the next question is, like, do we believe that anyone's going to get caught confiscating a dildo into an arena?
I mean,
Like
sure,
smuggling one in?
Probably, but will we even know?
I mean, I'm sure we'll know.
Think it'll hit the news?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
It was on Polymarket.
Yeah, Polymarket.
There were
has
bets
this.
on Polymarket, and apparently they got denounced for doing that.
Denounced.
'Cause they're booking bets on
denounced.
sex toys.
Polymarket's denounced.
Polymarket doesn't care.
No, they don't
No, they don't
care.
care.
They're,
They're
still,
making
they're
money.
making money.
It's literally like this. It's like 45% chance that a dildo will be thrown on an NBA game on Friday, August 8th, 39% on Saturday, 41% on Sunday, 22% on Monday, 20% on Tuesday. Buy yes for 53 cents, buy no for 64 cents.
Oh my god.
So, imagine trying to sneak in a dildo to an arena and then getting caught. Which leads to the next question. What's the weirdest thing you ever been caught doing? I will talk and I will tell you mine. I've had a lot. This will be one of the shits.
Of course, you've had a lot.
This will be. I'll do one, and the one that immediately came into my mind was a shit story. So apologize for people who don't like that, but that's what it's going to be. So to give some preference, I used to work at Berkeley Heights at a company that installed garage doors. So used to show up in the very wee
Oh, I
early
know this story.
6. Of course you do. 6-7 a.m. in the morning. Load up the van, and then down the street there was a convenience store where we used to stop, get a coffee, whatever, and then drive. This particular job was a big job. It needed 2 of us to go into and install. We were going into Irvington. First and foremost, I don't know who decided to do this, but they set up like 2 mini McMansions in the middle of fucking Irvington, which makes a lot of sense.
I don't get it.
And this is 20 plus years ago now, right? Like McGriddle just came out, right? So we stop at the convenience store. My normal routine was an orange juice and a buttered roll, and that's all I would have for breakfast. I would have a bigger lunch. We're driving in, get that. The guy I was working with, he's a degenerate. He had a bunch of lottery tickets, do a whole bunch of stuff. And then we start driving in, and he's like, yo, I'm starving. I got to get a McGriddle. I was like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. He was like, you got to have a McGriddle. And I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good.
No.
I don't need a McGriddle. And he was like, no, bro, you need the McGriddle. I'm going to buy you one. So, goes to McDonald's. We order. We drive in. First and foremost, the McGriddle was pretty fucking good. Probably really not good for you, but pretty fucking good. So we get to the house, and we install the garage door.
Oh, good on the body.
And
that's foreshadowing.
Come around lunchtime, I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. Do you think they have toilet paper upstairs? And the guy was like, dude, this house isn't developed yet. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like they haven't installed the toilets yet. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I need to go to the bathroom. And he was like, I don't think you understand. You're not going to the bathroom here. And I was like, I don't think this is good. And he was like, well, you can go down to the corner to the little bodega and see if they'll let you use the bathroom. But being is, they had a whole bunch of drug dealers sitting on the corner at around 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't think they're going to let you in to use the bathroom. So you figure it out. So I try to power through. Now, I'm not sure you realize how heavy some of these garage doors are and how big these garage doors are. So we're getting to the point now where I'm struggling for dear life. I'm sweating profusely, and I can't clinch much longer. I don't know what to do here. So I'm like, I'm going to use a bucket. I'm going upstairs to use a bucket. That's all I can do. So I go upstairs, I take a bucket, and I'm just sitting and having myself a go, and I felt relieved. But as I'm just pants on knees, bent over, hovering over this bucket, I go to stand up to do a little wipe, and I just happen to look in front of me. Well, this house hasn't been built. Well, it has been built, but it doesn't have blinds. So I'm looking right outside the window at the other house, who's also have a window with a whole bunch of people sitting at a table looking directly at me. Pants on knees, hovering over a bucket, taking a shit. All I could do was a little wave, finish my business, and go downstairs. And I'm like, we got to get this job done pretty quick because next door neighbors got a whole view of me. So
did they wave back?
No, they did not. So the weirdest shit I've ever been caught doing is taking a shit in a house with no windows, being looked at, taking a shit. So
That's a good one.
That's one of my stories. If anyone, you guys have anything to share?
I just got like an awkward one.
That's good.
It's like it's not even a long story, but it's like, you know how like you ever take a picture of yourself, or if you go to take like a selfie and you're doing it in like a bathroom, and then somebody walks in on you while you're doing it. It was at work. I was taking a selfie and somebody walked in and I just locked eyes with them and I was like, it was embarrassing. But it's not like this.
Fair.
That's all.
I mean, but
can
it's
think
at
of.
work, so it's an awkward moment, especially if you don't interact with that person.
And it was like it was somebody that was a higher up too, so it wasn't even like just like a colleague. It was like one of management, so made it even worse.
Yeah,
or even weirder, I should say.
Fair. So,
I can't think of like one for me, but the weirdest thing I ever caught somebody doing, well, it was weird for me anyway. So I think it was Memorial Day weekend. I had just gotten done with boot camp. I'm like in A school, so this is like 2008, right? And there's a party at my dad's house, and I'm like, I don't know what it was. Like, somebody was using the bathroom downstairs, and then I was like, I'm gonna go to use the bathroom upstairs, right? So I go upstairs, and like there's a party going on, right? So there's music playing, there's people talking. I can't really hear anything. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go into the bathroom. So I open the door, and my brother is like pounding out my girlfriend at the time's best friend. And I'm like, yo, y'all just met tonight. And they're like in the shower. I'm like, the shower is rolling. I'm like, yo, the curtain. I was like, where's the curtain? You guys are getting the curtain going. I was like, okay, close the door again. I was like, holy shit. So that was the first time I ever saw my girlfriend's best friend naked. And also the first time I ever saw my brother pounding out a girl. I was like, all right, good for him.
Fair.
What a story.
Really weird, awkward moment.
So, you shared a funny story.
Funny story.
Over the week of a woman who was going to work for 2 decades.
Oh yeah.
And the place.
So let me tell. I mean, just quick. Like it was just a screenshot. It was just like a picture with some words on it, and basically this woman in France worked for an engineering firm, but they gave her no work for 20 years. No work for 20 years. She just collected a paycheck to do nothing for 20 years. And now she is suing that engineering firm for not giving her any work to do because they say that this took some sort of mental toll on her. Which is wild. Like, yo, I'll take a paycheck to do nothing. Like, you're going to sit on my phone for 20
I don't think you would.
I definitely
imagine you have to go.
I would get another job to do during my job. Like, why would you not do that? Did you see this other guy? This other guy's had like 5-6 jobs at a time. They're like going around social media and they're saying like, don't hire this guy. They've got pictures of him. Don't hire this guy. He's doing 6 jobs at the same time, and it's all remote work. And dude was making like $380,000 a year, just like doing 6 jobs full time.
I'm confused.
Yeah, online.
How's he doing this? Is he really doing the work though?
I don't think he was.
Depends on the type of job they are.
So hold on.
He was some places and maybe not some other places. Like he would do like the lowest level of work acceptable.
So that's like saying someone go get 6 jobs as XYZ remote work. That's, let's just call it $50,000 a pop. That's $300,000.
Yeah.
And you get let go of one, then you just replace it with another one.
Yeah.
That resume is wild. That's a wild
It's a big thing though. There's a lot of people that do it. You can see it all over Instagram.
There's a lot of people doing this?
Yeah.
Especially since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well,
Just have multiple screens up, bro. I can probably put 6 screens up at home.
Here, I'm gonna call bullshit with this, and this is why I'm gonna call bullshit, and this is why I felt like I was gonna dive into deeper conversations, right? Because I know you, Scotty. Like, you have an issue if your boss doesn't give you feedback and let
Yes.
you know how you're doing.
Yes.
And since you've been working, you're always trying to strive to, like, obtain the next level and work towards, like, a more advance in your career journey,
Right.
right? So I don't think you alone can just sit at a job for 20 years just doing nothing. I don't think you don't have it in you.
But if like I knew that I was gonna get nothing, I mean, that's a long time to. How did this woman not get another job? Like, how did she not think I can do something else while I'm at work since I've got nothing to do at work? You know what I mean? Like,
maybe her concern and the reason why she was so freaked out was the fact, or why she was so distraught out of it, was the fact that every day she thought maybe the next day they were going to give her something to do, and then it just continued that way. So she was in a perpetual state. Listen, I don't
for
know.
20 years, bro.
People are crazy.
Come on.
Dude.
So I had a job where, like, my job was, if something breaks, do something, right? And for the first month or two, it was like, well,
Nothing broke.
nothing's breaking. So, like, and I started college. like I got most of my bachelor's degree doing that job. I mean, I eventually got a promotion, which I don't know how I got a promotion, because it was like, I mean, eventually somebody left that worked in a different department, and they were like, oh my God, nobody knows how to do these things. And I was like, I'll try it. Because, like, I was bored and not doing anything at work. And I picked it up really well that they were like, oh, we'll give you a promotion. And it was like, okay, great. You know what I mean? And then I had less time to do my schoolwork, but I still had time to do my schoolwork at work.
But you were unfulfilled, so you looked for something to fill that void, which was school, which is great. But
well, she could have done that too, though.
I'm not saying that. Not too many people are going to sit there and say, like, especially like someone sitting in an office, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine sitting in an office. Imagine sitting at, I don't know, wherever, and that's your place of business, and you then signing in to work at another place of business while you're at work. That, to me,
I mean, I don't know. I don't see
most
how that's
people.
I don't see how that's different than school.
Because
right, I'm signing into school to do schoolwork while I'm getting paid to sit there and do work.
But technically,
That I don't
your
have to
job
do.
can sit there and say, well, this schoolwork could benefit him here. You using
True,
company hours to then do another job and get paid full time.
Yeah, I can see how
that job.
There could be an ethical question.
Well,
about
there's
that.
a big ethical question, but not only that, but like you have to have balls of fucking steel to sit there and be at my desk. Let's just say I work for, I don't know, Tesla. I'm gonna sit at my desk. I'm gonna log in and I'm gonna say present at Tesla, and then I'm gonna whip out my laptop. Now I'm logging in to Google. And I'm working at Google. And now I'm working at Tesla and Google. And for 40 hours, Monday through Friday, I'm working at both places at the same time. Most people aren't going to have the balls to do that because that seems crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, from her perspective.
I mean, but like, I do my side gigs at work. Like, I have done my side gigs at work.
Here's the key. The key
like
to
this is a side gig. Are you saying you don't research anything for this? I mean, we're not getting paid right now, but like we can get paid. You're saying you don't do anything for this during your time while you're at working? Not even for like 10 minutes?
Well, sure, but that's me looking at like my phone and like doing whatever.
Sometimes you could do jobs on your phone.
Sure, but you're talking about sitting at your job where you're supposed to be working and doing work for whatever company that you're in and logging in and doing work for another company. Like most people aren't going to do that. I mean, as risky as I would like to be, I don't think I'm that risky.
Yeah.
To like sit there, go into my full-time job, sit down, log in, and then, well, I don't even have to log in. I just have to buzz in. As soon as I'm buzzed in, I'm in, right? And then just
The only
go ahead.
The only way this works is if they're remote workers. Because first off, even 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, your network is locked down. You can't just be connecting to other things from inside of an office. You go into that office, you can't just be using the network to get to somewhere else. They have firewalls. We have all sorts of things. They're going to be able to track it, right? The only way this works is if you're a remote employee and you have VPN access or some kind of a tunneled access to each place. And that's what the people are doing now. They have their own private personal VPNs that change their location to wherever it needs to be. If it's like a remote job in so-and-so place, they set, they have one machine with their internet connection set to a VPN that's tied to that location. They have another one tied to wherever. And that's the only way they're able to do these multiple jobs. So like to say you're going to go into work, and I think that's part of the issue. She had to physically go into work every day. So she couldn't physically go into work every day and then be working the second job to anywhere else because she'd have to be there unless she like had her phone and then it hotspotted from her phone. I guess there's some logistical issues with it, but
and I guess my point is like not do another job because like 20 years ago she couldn't have done that, 15 years ago she couldn't have done that, 10 years ago she couldn't have done that, but like
do something else,
right?
Learn something or fill your time with something else. Yeah.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with the lawsuit, right? Because at the end,
I don't either.
At the end of the day,
it's crazy.
You could go find another place of employment and find meaningful work where you're actually doing something. So
you did it to herself at that point.
I mean, she got paid to your point, she probably got paid somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000 to do nothing, right? So like, what are you suing them for? More money? You got paid all of that money to do nothing to begin with, and you probably got like 6 weeks vacation because it's France. Like 6 weeks vacation where you had to take it. Like, come on, like.
So the question is,
this woman's wild.
I don't think you would be mentally okay in that situation. I don't think I would be mentally okay.
Dude, I don't know, dude. If I got left alone for 8 hours and I was able to like learn, do schoolwork the whole time, I don't know, dude. I mean, I've done it before.
If I had that situation, I would 100% be finding another job paying double at that point because I would just use that time to learn something that's going to get me a better job somewhere else.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying
that was exactly what was in my head when I went to school and that job that I had nothing to do. I was like, well, how do I get to the next level? Well, I should probably get a bachelor's degree because I ain't got one.
The next question is, can companies kill employees' motivation?
Oh, hell yeah.
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 What ways can a company kill motivation, in your opinion?
Well, it's not. I don't want to say a company. Like, I don't think a company makes decisions.
The culture, though, company culture could tie into
but the
it.
Culture is also driven by the leaders of the company, right? So
not necessarily.
But I mean, the company doesn't really do things on its own.
The different departments and different group heads from the company,
things, right?
Yeah,
it's
but
not
he's
like
right.
the company is doing the things; the people do the things, right? So I want to be careful about like the company
I see what
versus
you're saying.
the people, right?
Yeah,
and I mean, like, you can call the leaders the company because they're the ones that are in charge of the company, right? But
the company itself is not an entity.
The company doesn't. I mean, unless they're just like. Even I was just thinking of the situation where like the company is in some shady business, but like even at that point they're in the shady business because the people decided to put that company in that position to do the shady business, like Enron, right? Like Enron started doing shady things. It was people decisions to do those shady things, not the company's decision to do those shady things.
Well, the founders of the company agreed with the direction of that. So the founders of the company.
I mean, you don't know if they're founders.
Fair, but
I mean, the founders could have sold
running
at that
the
point,
company.
right? Yeah, there are people that are.
I think it was more. there was a small subset of the people in charge that said, we need to cover this shit up and you're all going to do what we say.
Yeah.
And that's how Enron happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
more
you're
or
all
less-
going down with us otherwise, so we
Yep.
need to cover our trails, otherwise you're all cooked.
But like managers can definitely do things to kill motivation. And that's something I'm struggling with right now. So I just got moved to a different department, and this department is this out of, I don't know, 10, I want to say like 10 departments. It's the second worst performing department on site. Right. And it's one of the reasons why I asked to be put in that department is because like, I'm like, hey, like I've kind of got my department running pretty good. It's like 1 or 2, like top in our organization. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a new challenge. It's kind of boring. I'm one of those thrive in chaos kind of people.
Oh.
So like, I was like, oh man, I could just sit here and do nothing and like just sit back and let this place just run and like make some minor adjustments here and there. But like, minor adjustments are boring to me. Even like I do like housework. Like the finishing work is the worst. I just can't do it. Like I'll do the bulk of the job and it'll be like
finishing touches.
Oh man, like if I just put this trim on the cabinets, it would look so much better.
It's that last
like,
mile.
No, I'm not doing that. But anyway, so like I'm gonna have to put things in place that people are not gonna be happy about because they're used to doing almost nothing. And now I'm gonna be like, no, now I need work out of you. And you've been doing almost nothing for a couple years. And now what? Right? Like that's going to kill their motivation. But
well,
then
I don't think that, to me, I think the opposite. I think doing nothing killed their motivation. I think for the most part, I believe people
but they've been
wanna
sitting in their jobs for a few years.
But that they could just be exactly like that woman, right?
Mm.
For me, it's when I go to find a place of employment, right? I want to know that I'm going somewhere where I can grow,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I can't grow, then I have a problem. It's not going to work for me.
I do not think that is like a
But-
goal of the majority of people who go to work, though.
But I also think some people go to work and want to see a task get done. I don't think most people go to work and just want to see nothing.
I think most
people go to work just to get a paycheck so they can.
I think most
pay their
people,
bills.
yeah, exactly.
But
I
do
think
you
most
so
people would be like happy with just getting a paycheck for showing up, like, and they'd be good with that.
And not have anything to show for it. I'm an optimist.
They have that check to show for
I
it.
want to look at. I want to.
Yeah, but
I don't get me wrong. I do believe that it was like indubitably.
yeah, but you're also like in a dog eat dog kind of like area.
Sales.
Like in sales, dude. Like it's all about the hustle and getting more and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that's not the majority of the workforce.
I understand that, but I don't believe a lot of people want to go to work and log in for 40 hours and not produce anything. I do believe that there's a good portion of the workforce that want to see some like fruits of their labor. They want to see. Don't get me wrong.
No, I mean, I think that keeps people in jobs. I think that keeps people in jobs, right? Like, I mean, so I come from engineering, right? And like I used to fix things, right? Like that was my job, fix things, right? It wasn't like build things, it wasn't whatever. And like when the plant is down and they're not making anything and you're the guy who saved the day, like you feel freaking great, right? Like you're the guy. But like I don't know how much of the workforce in the country is like fixing things.
But
it's not a lot. I'm sure it's not a large portion of the workforce. But
well,
like, like I mean, I don't know. Like, how do people? So, for instance, my wife manages a bunch of data entry operators. You think they're like, oh man, I got so many files done today. I feel great.
I think that they see the fruits of their labor, and I think that they get graded on quantity and quality.
They do,
and that's also a portion of how they get paid, right? So, and I think most of them or some of them also envision themselves getting into these kind of roles and hoping to grow within the company. I think when your wife started as and worked her way up. Ashley's there. She started and she worked her way up. You started somewhere, you worked your way up. Muhammad, you started somewhere, worked your way up. I think most people are going to be workers to the point where that they work and they don't get me wrong, I do believe that there's a subset of people that just show up to work, want to check and go home, and they don't aspire to be anything more, right? But I think that there's a good portion of the people who do want to do work that is fulfilling for them in whatever stance, whether it's fixing something, whether it's selling something, whether it's making sure X, Y, and Z is running appropriately, making sure we have operations done, whatever, analytics, whatever it is that you're doing. I believe that there's a good set of people that want to see that work get done properly and it grow and then see the fruits of their labor and then grow into another thing.
Maybe I'm also like lumping in another group of people like by accident in.
I think it's 50-50.
Nah, I mean, because like I think there are people who want to grow, especially like the younger workforce, right? They want to get in, they want to grow, whatever.
Well, the younger workforce
and I
is
think
interesting.
they want to-
I get to see that.
They want to get in and already be at the top. They want to get in and they're like, I should already be here. I have this schooling. I know what I'm doing.
You know, there's that too. I had a conversation with this one person on my team like a couple years ago, and you know, she was like, oh yeah, this person I went to school with, they're like already a director, and I'm just like a specialist and blah de blah. And I'm like, so this is what I'm saying, right? So there's those people who, this kind of goes to my point. There's these people that are like just happy to collect a check. Like, I'm getting a good check, I'm chill, like cool, right? And look, at some point, like when I get a check that I will be happy with, right? Then like I'm gonna cool off. I'm gonna be like, dude, I'll just sit here and collect this check for. Like,
I think that
I'm not gonna maybe
never happened.
Maybe
No.
I will. Maybe
No.
I'll strive for more. I don't know. I mean, you
Bro,
know me
the
better than
bar.
I know me, so
You're just gonna keep raising
but
the bar.
I'm
but
just
like,
keep
no,
raising
let me
the
get to
bar.
my point. Let me get to my point, though. I think there are people who just like sit there and they'll collect their checks, right? And they were like, dude, cool. I've got a good gig, and like I know a lot of these people at work. Like, they are hourly employees. They don't want anything more. They're like, dude, if I want more, I'll just work more overtime. There's plenty of overtime to work. And that's that, right? And they're like, we're cool. Like, I'm good with this. And that's the majority of my department.
But they're still doing a work, and they're seeing their work get done.
And they get motivation from like getting their work done, right? And I don't want to dismiss that. But I do think there's this subset of people who get into a job and they want to grow, but they don't put any effort into growing themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
They just want
And
it.
they
Like, they just say,
expect-
I want to grow.
Yeah. I've been doing my job, you know, blah, de blah. I think I've been doing it well. And they put no effort into personal development. And then they're upset that they don't get any promotions beyond that. Like, I had this conversation with this girl, right? And I'm like, well, what are you doing to get to that next step? Where do you think you need to put effort in? And those conversations are really good. Like, I was very happy that she was open with me so that I could be like, why don't you look into doing these things? So that way she could grow into the next thing. Luckily somebody stole her off my team and like put her somewhere else. And now she's like out of harm's way. 'Cause she put people in harm's way. But like, it was scary in some situations. It wasn't like purposely intentful. Like, that's why like we didn't ever fire her. Like, she didn't do it on purpose. It's just like some like dumb things. But you know, like I don't know. So I guess I was lumping those people in with like, yeah, like, you know, I just do my job and like I'm just gonna get this promotion without putting any effort into myself. And that's why I always try and put effort into myself and grow myself, because like I don't want to be perceived as like the guy who, you know, applies for the promotion and I've got, like I did these things.
That white male privilege,
you know,
bro.
whatever. But
Yeah.
Um,
Racist.
no, I
Anyway,
I
No comment.
I think that companies, like you said, get these leaders involved, and I know personally, like when someone micromanages me, I don't operate well. I don't. I don't need you. Like there may be times where like I need to be told, hey, do the X, Y, and Z, but like I know what I need to get done. I know what my goals are. I know this and that. Like I just want to put my head down and go, right? So for me, if someone's micromanaging me, I shrink and I don't want, like it's just not a good spot. But also like the lack of growth within companies also then makes someone unmotivated,
Yeah.
right? And being stuck somewhere, that's a feeling of what's my
helplessness.
purpose.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting read and an interesting story, and she's gonna get paid. Crazy.
I've had those conversations with employees too, who are like, you know, oh, I'm leaving because there's nowhere for me to grow. And it's like, well, they've applied for different roles and stuff, and again, it's like, look, like promotions. So I'll say 2 years ago, right? Like 2 years ago, it was like maybe even 3 years ago, it was like, bro, you can get whatever you want, And like I feel this really from the Gen Zers, kind of like to the point of Muhammad was making, like, bro, they got into the workforce like I don't know 5-6 years ago, and then COVID happened, and like it was like it was open season on promotions. You could work a job, go to another company, get a promotion. Go to another company a year later, get a promotion. Go to another company a year later, get a promotion. And even like where I work now, that's how it was before I got there, where it was just like open season. Like we need people, we need people, we need people. Now the job market is really like, I mean, what did they make? 15,000 jobs last month? 15,000
Yeah, it's
jobs
pretty crazy.
was what was made last month in the country. And like, you know, jobs are going unfilled. There are like jobs that are posted that the company's not even actively looking for people to fill in those roles. They just posted jobs and they left it open, and they're like, yeah,
Well,
we're not even hiring this job anymore.
they're looking for it. They just, dude,
They're waiting for the right person.
Well,
right?
right person, but like you have to also understand, like companies from a recruitment standpoint, there are companies right now still working off of spreadsheets. They don't
Yeah.
have like technology. For whatever reason, HR technology isn't something that a lot of companies want to invest in because they don't see the value. And I personally don't understand that because the value is human beings. Like you're bringing in the lifeblood of your organization. A, what's it costing you to not have this position filled? Then B, what is the underlying issue that's happening and that's causing this issue, like this job to go unfilled, right?
Mhm.
Are you like, what is your needs? Like what is your team looking for that they're not getting today, right? So when we look at and listen, like how much headhunter, like how much spend companies have to do for using a headhunter?
Oh, it's like 30, 40, 50%.
Bro, it's wild.
Yeah.
So like
of their annual salary.
yeah, talking to some companies, like they're spending. I talked to a company last year that was spending $1 million a year on RPOs. Like
That's just bad management.
but they don't have the technology to help them find the people that they're looking for. So instead,
I just don't understand why they don't hire their own recruiter.
well, they have their own. Like, that's the thing. They have a recruitment department,
Mm-hmm.
and then they also are utilizing like, so you have the recruitment market, then you have Indeed and LinkedIn spending. You have the headhunter spending, right? Where like all of this is different spend, and they don't look at that necessarily. So you have to bring like, and that's the talk, right? The talk is you have to understand what's happening in their shoes, and then break it down so that way they understand, hey, if you just solve for X, you remove this spend, and this spend, and then really get to the heart of things and have important conversations. But at the end of the day, you also, in some of these markets, you have, how many Muhammads are there, right? Like, how many people are in his role that can fit into companies like him to make sure
Not many.
things are done, right? So you have a shortage in talent in some of these roles. So you have to steal, maybe, like you said, from another company, like someone that reports to Muhammad, right?
Yeah.
And give them Muhammad's role because they're just hoping that they're going to be able to fill the job and fill the void that they don't have right now.
Yeah, but I don't think. I mean, how do I say this? I think there's. I'm not sure that there are like large swaths of certain roles that can't be filled by like anybody, right? Like the very specialist roles. But then there are, I think the majority of jobs out there are not, you need
Super
like a highly
specialized.
specialized person to do. I mean, like Muhammad's particularly special because he does, like, there are certain softwares that are only used in his industry, right? Like, so he has that experience with those softwares, right? Like, I mean, and then you get into like the whole management. So like, I'm in management, but I'm in engineering management. Management in general, like operations management, there is not a shortage of managers in operations management. Everybody wants to be an operations manager, right? Everybody who's in operations wants to be an operations manager. And you can get this like, and companies are really like opening up to this whole like, and it's part of DE and I, and I think it's like the part of DE and I that people miss is that diversity of backgrounds, right? Like, you know, you may not be a diverse person, but your experience is different from what we have currently in our role. So like, I came from, so for instance, I think I have a diverse background from the people that I work with because most of the people I work with at my level came within the company. I came from external of the company doing a different kind of role, coming from like a customer service aspect, a contractor aspect, and I bring that perspective to my roles, and I think that makes me more marketable, more whatever, right? But like, I'm not sure that the majority of open jobs out there are really specialist level roles.
Well, yeah, and the big thing is
but maybe those companies are making them like, no, this is a special role. We need special skills for this role, and that's why they're hiring people.
Well, there's that, and then there's also not every single role needs a college education.
Well, I mean, there's that. Yeah.
And that's something that I think is going to change in the near future. Where
Maybe.
you're seeing a lot of these roles.
I'm seeing it go the other way.
What do you mean?
In my industry, anyway.
Requiring it?
Well, 5 years ago, my company would hire people in engineer roles that were not engineers. And in the last couple of years, they have instated, nope, you have to have a STEM degree.
Yeah, but all right, so you guys have a customer service department, right?
I mean, sure they do.
Right. So like, I guarantee you, if you go in the customer service department, they may have a college education required.
No, I mean, we have operations specialists who do not require.
Okay,
like, they hire people from
your company, without. But if you go to a lot of these companies,
yeah,
college education required
in customer service
in a lot of aspects, right? Like, so where if I'm looking at it, like,
I wonder if that's a legal thing though. So there's you guys have heard of exempt and non-exempt
yeah,
right, employees. There's like very specific requirements for someone to be an exempt employee. An exempt employee is somebody who can't collect overtime.
Contract worker,
right?
Too.
Contract worker?
Contract workers are exempt employees.
Well, yeah, but they get benefits from their.
No, like,
not all contract employees are exempt employees.
Okay.
but like there are very specific requirements, and I'm sure that I mean I can do some research on this, but there are very specific requirements for you to be an exempt employee, and one of the easiest boxes to check is if they have a college degree. Like a college degree is required to do this job, right?
But is it? That's the question. Like the question
well,
is,
if they say it is, then
well,
yeah.
sure. But like if we go through all of these companies and all of like the shortage of talent and say, hey, you know, why not get this person that's out of high school, right? Or did a couple years in community service or community college, and maybe has an associate's. Maybe they didn't agree with school and just or life. Like I was going to college when like I was working full time when I had a newborn, right?
Mhm.
Like so I didn't get my college degree until I was already working, and I just happened to have years of experience that got me access to being part of Chrysler Financial, right? Like
Right.
but not everyone is going to be able to do that. And not only that, but like I also do very well on all of those tests. Like any test that's put in front of me, like when it comes to these kind of like what kind of person you are and this, that, and all this other stuff.
Yeah, the
like
personality.
Myers-Briggs kind of thing.
Like, yeah, and like just testing like if I can solve problems or whatever. I get really, by the way, solving problems. LinkedIn has like these games that they do,
Yeah,
and I get really, really mad.
they're super easy.
Which
Are
one?
they
Which one?
super easy?
Which one do you get mad at?
Usually I'm like average 15 seconds.
Okay, I call bullshit there, but
Okay.
well,
Well, like the Queen's game, or
dude.
Tango,
Okay,
all of those?
Yeah, dude. There
Yeah.
are days where
like
Tango's easy.
I'm like less than 20 seconds on all but maybe 10% of them.
bro, you do realize I'm not saying that you're not smart, but like
I get really mad.
no, I get really mad because it consistently says that I'm smarter than 90% of CEOs. I don't need to see this. I don't want this. I don't want to know that there are 90% of CEOs that I'm solving these problems and they can't do. Like,
Yeah, bro. Listen, man. You want to be CEO of No Safe Words Podcast?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yo.
now you're a CEO. Just list it on
You
your
made
freaking
it.
LinkedIn. Like, I don't understand.
Congratulations.
Anybody can list themselves as CEO.
CEO and founder.
Bro.
Like, come on, dude. How many private consultants do you think are on LinkedIn?
Okay.
They're like, yep, I'm a CEO.
and how
CEO
many,
of
okay, sure.
of Joe Schmo Consulting. Like, come on, don't listen to that
Okay.
shit. You're expecting that,
technically,
that
I'm a
social
CEO
media care. Like, LinkedIn's not checking to make sure that they're CEOs.
No, but what
They're not
it does-
checking anything.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Here, let me
there
create
was
a
this,
profile. I'm CEO. Scott.
Exactly. There was this cybersecurity group. This
Like-
guy, Tom Ryan, he basically created a fictitious lady profile that basically infiltrated a lot of the top level government officials in the cybersecurity and the security world, simply by creating a profile that had somewhat believable details and just spamming out connection requests with people. And it was a completely made up person, generated image, and was able to set up meetings with people. And just from the connections built, able to get other people to, I guess, let that person into their world without the person was a fake made up account, completely fake made up account. So LinkedIn is probably the worst at